Colorado's Attorney General will soon let people know how to get their hands on their share of a state settlement with Wyatt's Towing. The AG announced the $1 million deal earlier this month. Investigators have been looking into Wyatt's for a while now. They found the company towed thousands of cars without proper authorization and charged unlawful fees. That investigation started 4 years ago in 2019.
And this morning, our 90s legal analyst, Whitney Traylor, joins us to bring some context to this settlement and talk us through those terms. Good morning, Whitney.
Good morning to you both, and good morning, Colorado.
Let's start with the investigation. Why did the AG look into Wyatt's in the first place?
Well, they got so many complaints, honestly, and so these complaints went to the PUC, the Public Utilities Commission, and they normally get maybe 400 a year. At this time, they got over 900 in a short amount of time, and it was the whole industry, the towing industry in particular. But Wyatt's had an excessive amount of those complaints, and what was happening was they were improperly towing, and the reason they were doing that, or I guess the way it was facilitated, was they controlled all aspects of the towing. So they would have these relationships with the parking lot owners, and they would be paid by commission or per car that they towed. So even cars that were maybe not in violation or maybe a slight violation, they would tow them, and then it was incredibly difficult to get their cars back and things like that. And that was all based on the AG's investigation, which led to the settlement.
Okay, and as far as the settlement goes, what are the terms there?
Right, so the terms of the settlement, you said in the lead-in that it's $1 million, so $236,000 of that is these essentially loans. What happened is if people couldn't come and collect their cars, they would hold it until they could, pay a certain amount of money. And so they treated it almost as an improper loan. So they have about $236,000 in fees that they're going to waive. Wow. There's about $764,000 going to the state. Some of that's going to consumers, and some of that's going to future fraud protection. So they're actually, I think I'd call that maybe a little bit of a punitive aspect to it for the future damages.
When we were talking about it too, like some of these folks were it's their apartment building,
right,
and they're parked there and they had a pass, and then their car's getting towed.
Man, and that's what makes this so egregious, because if you look at just the average person or somebody on the lower economic scale, right, you lose your car, I mean, that is substantial. And there was one person in particular that I read a number of reports, and she was borrowing a friend's car, so her car was in the lot, the friend's car was in the lot properly, both of them got towed. She could only afford to get the friend's car out, so hers, they were charging these $40 a day storage fees, and after 30 days, they were able to then auction them. So her car actually got auctioned off.
Oh, no.
Right, and some of the issue was they weren't getting proper notice and things like that. So, for example, in one 5-day period, they made over $100,000 on some of these fees.
Wow. Let's talk about protecting these people, though, too, because we also know that there's a new law that was enacted in August to help people in these situations.
Right, the Towing Bill of Rights. And that was because of this investigation that was going on in 2019. That law was initiated in 2021, became law in 2022. Interestingly, during that time, Senator Julie Gonzalez was one of the sponsors of the bill. She was improperly towed, so one of our state senators. And so the Towing Bill of Rights requires that the tows have certain permits. They have to give you certain notification by certified letter, which they were realizing they weren't doing. One primary issue is that if your car gets towed, they can only charge you 15%. If you can't pay, they can charge you up to 15%, which is a maximum of $60. You can then get your car back, and you essentially owe them the rest of it. So that's in the Towing Bill of Rights, because look, if you don't have money, that's your only vehicle.
Right.
That completely jams you up. So this way, at least you can pay a little something on it, get your car back, and then start resume payments.
All right, Whitney, we appreciate you breaking that down for us. Hopefully that's helped some of our friends out there this morning.
Yeah, and if they have questions, they can go to the AG's website. They can even go to Wyatt's Towing. So this settlement was with Wyatt's, but it's a towing industry in general. But the AG has a great website if you have issues and think you want to get around.
Okay, good to know,
Thank
Whitney.
you, Whitney.
Thank you. Let's get